Hey guys, I just want to give you a little warning before you keep watching this video. If you don't like gory stuff, do not keep watching this video. We show a lot of pictures of what Ed Gein really did, and it can get pretty gross and pretty weird. So if that's not something you're into, if that's stuff that you get grossed out by, don't keep watching, click off, go watch something else. Now let's get back to the video. What's up guys, I'm Cassie.
I'm Sara.
And today we're talking about Ed Gein, the man who wears human skin.
Edward Gein, also called the Butcher of Plainfield, was born August 27th, 1906 in Plainfield, Wisconsin, and was an American serial killer whose gruesome crimes gained worldwide notoriety and inspired numerous books and horror films. Edward endured a difficult childhood. His mother, Augusta, hated her husband, an alcoholic who was unable to keep a job. He had worked at various times as a carpenter, tanner, and insurance salesman. George owned a local grocery shop for a few years but sold the business, and the family left the city to live in isolation on a 155-acre farm in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, which became the Gein family's permanent residence. Outside of school, Ed spent most of his time doing chores on the farm. Augusta was fervently religious and nominally Lutheran. She preached to her boys about the innate immorality of the world, the evil of drinking, and her belief that all women, apart from herself, were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. She reserved time every afternoon to read to them from the Bible, usually selecting verses from the Old Testament and Book of Revelation concerning death, murder, and divine retribution. Edward was shy, and classmates and teachers remembered him having strange mannerisms, such as seemingly random laughter, as if he were laughing at his own personal jokes. To make matters worse, Augusta punished him whenever he tried to make friends. Despite his poor social development, Edward did fairly well in school, particularly in reading. In 1944, Henry, Edward's brother, died in mysterious circumstances during a fire near the family's farm in Plainfield. Although Ed reported his brother missing to the police, he was able to lead them directly to the burned body when they arrived. Despite bruises discovered on the victim's head, the death was ruled an accident. The death of Edward's mother in 1945 left him a virtual hermit. In subsequent years, Ed boarded off the areas of the house that his mother had used most frequently, preserving them as something of a shrine.
So his family was kind of psycho, like his mom.
Yeah, I think the biggest part was his mom. I feel like his dad wasn't, at least in what we've read, isn't really involved so much.
He was just a drunk that couldn't hold a job,
Yeah,
and his
just
mom
kind of there. Mom was
him.
literally crazy. So she basically, I mean, they got a farm for the isolation purposes, which already isn't good for a child.
No.
And then on top of that, she would like preach to her boys about like stuff in the Bible, but she would take it to like the extreme.
Dude, she was calling women like the devil,
Yeah,
except for
basically.
herself.
Which for anyone, but especially like young boys to like grow up viewing women like that, that's like so bad.
Yeah, because like once they grow up in the real world,
Yeah.
like
I feel bad for this kid. Like, and then when he tried to make friends, his mom would like beat him.
dude, my mom would love it if I made friends.
Most parents do. So all he has is his mother who's like preaching these awful things to him.
And his brother, who tried to like, when I was reading, he tried to like protect his brother from like his mom. It always didn't work out. His brother died in a fire. People suspected Ed, like that is because.
I mean, I would almost suspect him too, but I feel like probably in this case, he loved his brother more than his mother. Like, yes, he loved his mother, but more like idolized her, I would say. But probably his brother, it was like his like safe space.
His brother was like his best friend.
Yeah, so I don't know that he would murder his brother. The mother, however, so far, like we haven't really gotten very far into this, but it reminds me. Did you ever read the book of Mice and Men?
Yeah.
With Lenny.
Lenny.
Right, that's the one
Yeah,
that
Lenny.
had mental problems or something like that. That's kind of like what this. Not saying that he had any mental things going on, but just with the way things were, like he might have known where his brother was, but maybe he saw his mom do it or had to help her. You know what I mean? Like,
there's possibilities out there.
I know.
On the morning of November 16th, 1957, Plainfield hardware store owner Bernice Warden disappeared. A Plainfield resident reported that the hardware store's truck had been driven out from the rear of the building at around 9:30 a.m. The hardware store saw few customers the entire day. Some area residents believe this was because of deer hunting season. Bernice Warden's son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Warden, entered the store around 5 p.m. to find the store's cash register open and bloodstains on the floor. Frank Warden told investigators that on the evening before his mother's disappearance, Ed had been in the store and was to return the next morning for a gallon of antifreeze. A sales slip for the gallon of antifreeze was the last receipt written by Warden on the morning she disappeared. On the evening of the same day, Ed was arrested at a West Plainfield grocery store, and the Waushara County Sheriff's Department searched the Gein farm. A Waushara County Sheriff's deputy discovered Warden's decapitated body in a shed on Gein's property, hung upside down by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists. The torso was said to be skinned like a deer. She had been shot with a .22 rifle, and the mutilations were made after her death. Searching his house, authorities found whole human bones and fragments, a wastebasket made of human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedposts, female skulls, some with the tops sawn off, bowls made from human skulls, a corset made from a female torso skinned from shoulders to waist, leggings made from human leg skin, masks made from the skin of female heads, Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag, Mary Hogan's skull in a box, Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack, Bernice Warden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's potbelly stove, 9 vulvae in a shoebox, a young girl's dress in the vulvas of 2 female judged to have been about 15 years old, a belt made from female human nipples, 4 noses, a pair of lips on a window shade drawstring, a lampshade made from the skin of a human face, and fingernails from female fingers.
He basically kidnapped, well, they think that he kidnapped Bernice Warden, and then, well, technically I guess they did because they found her body.
Yeah, and her son, you know, the sheriff, was like, we gotta look for her.
Yeah, so they went and they checked out Gein's property. They found her hanging upside down, like, so if you know, like, what deer hang from, it's like this thing with, like, circles, and then you hang them.
Yeah.
And it's gross. And so she was hanging like a deer, and then she was
skinned like a deer.
Essentially, yeah. We get into
my favorite part.
When they searched the house.
This is where it gets juicy.
They found a lot. I can't even imagine what the house looked like. So they found so many pieces of human skin, human bone.
A belt made of nipples. Female nipples.
Like,
could you imagine sporting that around? Be like,
Does he wear that like in his house?
I don't know.
It's so gross.
A lampshade was made of a human face.
The thing that I picture the most, I don't know why, is the pair of lips on a window shade drawstring. I just see lips like they're just like sitting there. And I don't know why. I see
just
that,
on the just
yeah,
waiting to be like.
He went from obviously like his mom dying and like going through that to him all of a sudden kidnapping this woman and then hanging her like a deer, and then they find all of this. Like, we don't hear much about, like, the in-between.
No.
You know what I mean? Because, like, usually people who turn out like this, as kids, they're already, like, very different.
Yes.
I guess. But we don't see much of that in what we have, other than the fact that he was very isolated.
Maybe
overboard.
Maybe they're similar to his mom.
Could
or
be.
look like
similar.
Her.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'll figure it out. When questioned, Ed told investigators that between 1947 and 1952, he made as many as 40 nocturnal visits to 3 local graveyards to exhume recently buried bodies while he was in a daze-like state. On about 30 of those visits, he said he came out of the daze while in the cemetery, left the grave in good order, and returned home empty-handed. On the other occasions, he dug up the graves of recently buried middle-aged women he thought resembled his mother and took the bodies home, where he tanned their skins to make his paraphernalia. Soon after his mother's death, Ed began to create a woman suit so that he could become his mother to literally crawl into her skin. Ed denied having sex with the bodies he exhumed, explaining they smelled too bad. During interrogation, Ed also admitted to shooting Mary Hogan, a tavern owner missing since 1954, whose head was found in his house. but he later denied memory of details of her death. A 16-year-old youth whose parents were friends of Ed and who attended ball games and movies with him reported that he kept shrunken heads in his house, which Ed had described as relics from the Philippines, sent by a cousin who had served on the islands during World War II. Upon investigation by the police, these were determined to be human facial skins carefully peeled from corpses and used by Ed as masks. On November 21, 1957, Ed was charged on one count of first-degree murder in Sara County Court, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. Ed was diagnosed with schizophrenia and found mentally incompetent, thus unfit for trial. He was sent to the Central State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, a maximum security facility in Waupun, Wisconsin. In 1968, doctors determined Ed was mentally able to confer with counsel and participate in his defense. The trial began on November 7, 1968 and lasted 1 week. A psychiatrist testified that Ed had told him that he did not know whether the killing of Bernice Worden was intentional or accidental. Ed had told him that while he examined a gun in Worden's store, the gun went off, killing Worden. Ed testified that after trying to load a bullet into the rifle, it discharged. He said that he had not aimed the rifle at Worden and did not remember anything else that happened that morning. At the request of the defense, Ed's trial was held without a jury, with Judge Robert H. Gallmer presiding. Ed was found guilty by Gallmer on November 14th. A second trial dealt with Ed's sanity. After testimony by doctors for the prosecution and defense, Gallmer ruled Ed not guilty by reason of insanity and ordered him committed to Central State Hospital for the criminally insane. Ed spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Judge Gallmer wrote, due to prohibitive costs, Ed was tried for only one murder, that of Bernice Worden. He also admitted to killing Mary Hogan. It was like he was like conscious and not conscious. He was going to graveyards, and some of the times he would like know what he was doing, and then other times he was like in a daze and like took things to make a woman suit. A woman suit that resembled his mom, so he can literally be her and like crawl in her skin.
That's a lot. I don't like.
Yeah, you're like that's a lot.
It's just
to
a
process.
lot. I'm gonna have to tap out. Yeah. So I wonder, like, if he had some type of like mental break when he would like go to these places. You know, the when he wouldn't remember.
Maybe his mom is like at that cemetery, and like every time he went, it kind of like triggered something. Like my mom is dead because you know he like worshipped her.
Yeah. I wonder if he had split personality.
Possibly.
Maybe his mother wasn't like. I don't know. You know how like people can like take
on.
So like I wonder if maybe his other like part of his personality thing or whatever.
Like his mom sort of.
Yeah. That's why he was like creating the woman's suit. Or maybe he just would have like some. I mean, he obviously now has some sort of mental thing going on, so maybe he would just have like a breakdown, and then he would just like amnesia.
I like that split personality, because like making a woman suit so he can literally like be his mom and crawl like so when she would take over, she would have that suit.
Because that would explain to some extent like why he wouldn't remember.
Yeah.
You know, because like sometimes when you have split personality, I've seen people like they don't remember what the other personality has done.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case, but it's kind of gross that he's making a suit out of flesh to wear. You know, because like sometimes when they say, oh, we're just going to like charge you with not guilty with insanity or whatever. But in this case, like I think he might have, because of what he went through as a child, to then the fact that he can't remember what's going on. And like, I don't know. I really feel bad for him. Honestly, like I know he did all these crazy things and killed all these people, but I partially don't think it's his fault.
You know like the way he grew up and the way he was treated, like
he was created into this. Like he wasn't born this way. He was formed into this way, which I think is so sad.
Yeah. But he stayed in a mental institution till the day he died at 77 in 1984. But I like this. I like this one. You know, it's right up my alley of disgusting.
I do like this one, but at the same time, it's like sad to me a little bit.
Yeah, it is sad that like, you know, if like, he had like different parents or like a different upbringing, he could have been like an amazing person. He probably could have accomplished so much.
Oh, probably. And it's not like he didn't even have any friends to be like, oh, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Like, he had nobody, like, just himself and what's going on up here.
I bet, like, maybe if his brother, like, didn't die and was still, like, you know, around, probably could have helped him.
Yeah. Remember how I said the whole like split personality thing? Or like blackouts? What if he killed his brother during like a blackout?
But his mom didn't die before that. Like we're saying.
No,
like,
not his mom, his brother. I'm talking about when his brother died.
Okay.
What if he, because remember how we were saying maybe he killed his brother, maybe his mom killed the brother, maybe he did it. But and he didn't like really,
okay.
He knew where the body was, but
so
he
multiple personalities.
Yeah, or, is there any other condition where you just black out? Maybe, and you just don't remember like gaps of time.
Well, I mean, like you can like go into like a rage and like not remember anything, but I don't think he was angry about anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know down below if you guys like the story of Ed Gein, what you guys think about him, what you think about his house. What do you think about what went on inside those walls?
So if you want to see more videos like Ed Gein, make sure you click on this video right here. We will see you guys next week. Peace!